All right, good morning, YouTube. It is Tuesday, March 19th. Sitting here in Hebron, Indiana. Just dropped off last night to complete my week. Dropped off in Chicago, Illinois. I just wanted to give you a quick weekly recap and my frustrations with dispatch. I didn't realize I had so many until last night, but I will get into that. So I had 2 runs for the week. I had one in Brownsville, Texas. Laredo kind of messed me up, sitting there for like 5 days. But it's all good. I had a day ahead, 200 miles out to get that. Took that up to Louisville to the Ford plant. Second run was the following day. I picked up in Seymour, Indiana, going to Chicago, Illinois, which was another Ford plant, but for police interceptors. So pretty much had a Ford kind of week. Never owned a Ford a day in my life, I don't think, but that's where I went to. So with that Ford plant delivery, the first one that went to Louisville, I got up there about a day early, so I ended up getting a hotel not too far from Louisville, and I didn't have to deliver the next day until 5 p.m. because apparently the plant closed down until 5 p.m. And so I ended up, instead of waiting around at the truck stops or whatever, after I checked out, went and got something to eat, and I said, you know what, I'm just going to head up there. So I got up there about 3:30. I seen that other drivers were, sitting alongside the road, so I decided to wait there for an hour and a half. I watched a couple shows on my phone, and then 5 o'clock came. This is where stuff started. So I get up to the guard shack, about 5:15, what have you. Wrong spot. Supposed to go a mile around the corner to Seville. So I did that. Got over there about 5:30 because I had to wait. Called dispatch. They had to verify. Blah, blah, blah. Got over there at 5:30. They're not open till 6. So now I waited until 6. They're opening. By the time I get up to their little check-in, wrong spot again. I had to go to the building after the light. Okay. So I called dispatch. And this is where one of my frustrations starts with dispatch. I called them. Now, granted, it's the weekend, so they're kind of slow, not nearly as many dispatchers there. I get that. But this is an ongoing thing even when they are fully staffed. So I called, told the lady, I said, hey, now I'm at the wrong address again, because I had to call her about the first one. She said, okay, hold on, let me find out, I'll call you back. 15 minutes went by. So I said, you know what, I'm going to be proactive here. I'm going to call the number that's on my sheet. Good thing that I did, because when I called, they gave me the correct address. And dispatch never called back, at least not right away. So I went ahead, got there, got dropped off almost 3 hours later from when I originally got there. Now, granted, some of that was because I got there early, which is fine. But even if I would have gotten there right at 5, I didn't get dropped off till almost 6:40. Way too long, because I expected to be in and out by 5:30, maybe get in line for another load that day. I don't know, but I missed out on that. And I just wish dispatch was a little bit more quicker with finding things out, because majority of the times when I call dispatch and I say, hey, this is happening or that is happening, and they say, okay, let me call you back, I usually ended up finding out the answer a lot quicker than they can. And then usually when they call back, I tell them, well, I already found out, but thanks anyway. Because if you don't be proactive, you're going to be sitting for a very long time, because dispatch loves to drag their feet, at least to me, when it comes to finding out things. So I end up, dropping it off. And then I had that run, like I said, Seymour, Indiana, going to Chicago, Illinois to another Ford plant, but for police interceptors. And that was the total opposite. Quickest unload I ever had. It was 2 people ahead of me. I only sat there 5 minutes. Dude unloaded me. Bam, bam. Signed my paper. Got it moving. I was in and out of that place in 5 minutes. My other frustration with dispatch. After every load, what I do is I pull up my app that my company has, and I try to see what position I'll be in several cities. I do that because obviously I know Chicago's going to have a lot of people. Freight moves fast in Chicago, but I know there's going to be a lot of people waiting. So I looked up different places. I found out here in Hebron, Indiana, I would have been number 1. So I said, okay, I'm going to move there. It keeps me close to Gary, Indiana, Chicago, Illinois. I'm not too far from Hammond. Not too far from Indianapolis, maybe Fort Wayne. No, because Indiana is not really a big state. I'm not even that far from Wisconsin, you know. So I'm like, I'm close to a lot of places. So I said, I'm going to just sit here, you know, or I'm going to go there, rather. So I write dispatch, and I tell them that. They email me, it says, well, we have you on reserve, so maybe you should not move. Well, first of all, you know, don't come at me like that. Because now the rebellious side of me will move. But I say, you know what, I'm going to stay put. Because they did have a bid that they were bidding on for me to take a load that day, direct. I told them, I said, if you do not get that bid, call me, let me know. Never did. So I called 15 minutes later. Of course, I didn't get the bid. But, and then I moved, obviously. I just moved out of Hebron, Indiana. But I believe what makes a good company great, one of the things has to be transparency. There has to be transparency between the company and the driver. You know, if you have drivers on reserve, call and let them know. Text and let them know. One of those 2 things, because I bet you to save us more gas money if you sit here and be like, hey, I see you just complete this load, but we have you on reserve, so kind of stay put. That's fine. If you tell me that, great. I'll find somewhere, I'll stay put. But they don't do that. I've probably been on reserve 80% of the time, but they never tell me. That was the first time that I seen that I was on reserve for anything. And that's only because I told them I was leaving. Never heard anything about me being on reserve day in my life. Or since I've been working here. And so they need to be more transparent, you know. If you are bidding on the load for me, you call me, you tell me, hey, I got this load going from point A to point B. I'm going to pay you this much. I'm bidding on it now. Will you accept it for that rate? And if I say yeah, and I tell you to call me back if you do not get this bid, and you don't call me back, again, a person that's not proactive, they're not going to call. They're just going to sit there, you know. And we need to be transparent, you know, because you don't know what my plan of attack is. And by me sitting here, it's kind of throwing it off, it's messing it up, you know. But one thing I will not do, I will not sit in Chicago overnight unless I know I'm on reserve. But if you don't tell me that, I'm going to move. So that's one of the frustrations I have, one of many that I have with dispatch. And there's some that I have with the company, but that's for a different day. But again, I had 2 runs last week. Brownsville to Louisville, Seymour, Indiana to Chicago, Illinois. Now I'm in Hebron, Indiana. Waiting on a load. I should get one today because I'm in a pretty good area. But I just wanted to update you on what I did. If you haven't already, hit that like, hit that subscribe button. Until next time, folks, take care.